Morning all, and our topic today is building our success at eXp Realty. So what I want to do is I just want to share my screen. Just want to take my video off quick at the moment. Share screen. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so one of the biggest problems that we've got, if we can go to screen number 2. Come on, why is it not working? We all worry about getting commissions because we think money is the problem, because we're focusing mainly on what we need for the month. How do we pay our water and lights? How do we pay our food? And a lot of people get into real estate because I think, hey, it's a quick way to make money. It's basically the system. So let's start with something that catches a lot of people off guard: money issues. What do we put into place as a system to make our business work? What would you say? And guys can interact.
Okay. What do we put into place
To sort out a system that can make your life much easier.
Okay, I do that boxing
With time boxing,
exercise.
Vilna, that's great. Tell us your daily methodology on time boxing for people to understand what the other time boxing works.
Okay, I basically work on a format which is broken up into different segments. The one is my goals for the day, things I must not forget, because sometimes my mind wanders off to something, and if I don't jot it down, that it keeps on being in the background of my mind, and it wastes my time. Then I also have a daily schedule that's worked out from the morning till 17:30 at evening, where I have my specific activities and things that I have to focus on every day. I've broken up personal issues, my realty, my charity work, my whatever is involved for that day is broken down into segments or hours, time frames for the day. Then there's the to-do list, which is also the top 3 things that I have to do for the day. And I just add to the to-do list little things that I mustn't forget about. Yeah, what else is there?
Which is great. And what I've done is I'll basically work on SMART goals, and I've found a program which I'll share with the team, where you can start tracking your daily activity by breaking your segments down in 15 or 20 or 30-minute slots, that what you want to achieve.
Yeah.
So one of the things what I work on is SMART. The S stands for being specific. What do you want to do specific on a daily basis? So this is how I've planned my day. I stand up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I do my exercise and my quiet time, my visualization and affirmation. Then I say from 6 to 7, I need to create a PowerPoint presentation which I can use as a marketing campaign, which I can put through social media, or I'm going to do a TikTok live, or I'm going to do a social media live. That is what I'm trying to do. So the M stands for measurable. Is it measurable what I want to do? Is it achievable? Is it relevant? Now, relevant is, am I going to do a series from Monday to Friday on a specific property or specific task or specific thing, how to bring in agents? And T stands for time. So if I understand how to work my goals and I put stuff in that will work for me to leverage my time wisely, I believe I can succeed more. Because a problem that we've got is when it comes to money, we're focusing on how can we sell. Which brings me to the next slide, which means hard work versus focused work.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about hard work first. You know, most of us work so hard on looking for mandates, going through certain portals, working together, but we're not working smart enough.
Mm.
So, so what I would say is a solution. What I figured out, what's working for me and what's not working for me. Where do I spend my energy, and where do I find the most impact? Yeah.
Yeah,
So if I look at a database, I had a discussion with a agent yesterday,
yeah.
and the problem that we had was I'm not getting enough listings, or I've got a lot of listings, but I'm not getting a lot of buyers because Property 24 and private property is not filtering through the buyers.
Mm-hmm.
Because what we're doing is we're waiting for buyers to approach us instead of leveraging certain tools like social media to make our business work.
Mm-hmm.
So lots of times we have to move out of our comfort zone to be comfortable. And this is where I find a lot of problems with a lot of us. We don't want to move out of our zone. To give you an idea, is I've done 2 deals this year using social media, and that's without seeing the buyer or the seller. Is by just
Yeah.
putting some small content in. How do you qualify for a bond? How do you sort out your credit listing? What is the area? Let's use Property 24, your statistics. If you want to buy in Cape Town, look at the statistics. This is what I would suggest, that people can buy into it, because what you're doing is you're educating people instead of trying to sell, which I call more of focused work instead of hard work.
I
Any
agree. Yeah.
questions on that?
No, that's fine.
So those are things where I feel a person can work smarter and not harder by generating the properties that you've got to give more feedback to your seller, and also attracting the buyers.
Mm.
Um, because the next point that comes up is don't overwhelm by over delivering.
Yeah. I
So,
think that's where I fall short.
okay. And this is where I find a big problem. Uh, and and I've realized I sometimes over deliver because it's not just overwhelming for me, but it's also overwhelming for the buyer and the seller.
Yes.
Okay, figure out what your client wants. Write it down. So anybody that's interested, I'm going to drop down a wish list in this video so anybody can download it and see how you can help your team or your client with a wish list in what they want. Because if you know what your wish list is for your particular client, you can start looking at what you want to offer.
Yeah.
So, sometimes, and I'm very guilty of this. I know of somebody who might have this property, I will let you know. But I can't get all of somebody to let them know because I haven't got the first somebody.
Yeah.
You know, first find the property, get to somebody, and then do it backwards, that you can use your time wisely instead of trying to say, maybe I can get it. Um, the other problem is I've just have got, and this is where I've got another issue is I'm working with a property investor. I said, I can get this property, but I can't get the mandate. So what do I do now? And this is what I thought about what I have to do. Just send him the property. If he wants to run with him, let him run with him. But at least I've built a relationship if the next one comes up by
Yeah.
providing services. Because if they buy that property, I know at the end of the day, by giving that service, that I can get the mandate of the units they're going to build. So sometimes we have to give to receive. I don't know if you got any opinion on that.
No, that's true.
Have you got anything to add, Daniela?
Yeah, absolutely, Ron. Like for example, I've got an owner who's sitting in Johannesburg with a tenant that didn't want to get out of her property. And by me offering the services that I did to assist her with getting her tenant out, getting the place cleaned for her, getting the place painted, made a huge difference in her confidence in me and trusting me to continue to market her property, because my 3-month mandate had expired. And because I'd invested so much time and effort and proved myself to the seller, she was happy to extend my mandate for a further 2 months. And I ended up getting an offer on the property to purchase last week. So in
Right.
that way, yeah, adding extra services definitely did help me with the sale.
And Daniela, what I love what you just said there is a solution you provided to your client because you made them the top priority and asked them, what do they want instead of
Yes.
what I want? And through
Yes.
that, you picked up the mandate.
Yes, I understood that she had difficulty selling it before with other agents because the tenants were problematic. Um, but I assured her that I'm the type of agent that will give 110% efforts, and go more and over and beyond what a normal agent would do. So I think my resilience and my determination to help her in the end kept the mandate with her and got the property sold, and yeah, win-win for everybody.
Fantastic.
Dynamite, Dan.
Thank you. Yeah, it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy at all. I must say, it really did test every bit of my strength and courage and patience.
Yeah,
But
that
you
In
got
the
that
end,
but you got the deal done because it links into what I'm just saying now is the power of a wish list. The wish list was, how do I get my tenant out? How do I
yeah,
fix up my property if I'm not there? Who can I trust? Because
yes,
you went that extra mile, the people invest in Daniela
yes.
because I'm going to go the extra step. The biggest problem is, and I want to go to another story, is I was working for another company and I had this mandate on the beachfront. And one of the agents in that company approached me and says, can I bring my client through to your property? I says, not a problem. So she ran with the client early in the morning and took them to about 10 properties till they came to the property which I've got. And this was an overseas buyer. And she fell in love with it. At 2 properties I showed her, both it's got fantastic views. I would have gone for the other one because it was a bigger flat, but the first one had an Airbnb facility which can be managed. So when I spoke to the client afterwards, I says, I've spoken to this particular agent. She took me to Parklands, she took me to Sandown, she took me to Tableview, she even took me to Milnerton. All I asked for is I'm looking for a fully furnished flat with sea views. Because the agent tried to sell her own stock before she work with another agent who had a mandate, she tried to make as much commission as possible without listening to the client. Luckily, taking over that client or that buyer, I'll put a couple of pointers down in my little book and says, this is what I've got. Is this what you want? And she said yes. And the beauty part about this is she also wanted to buy the property cash. I says, why don't you get a 50% bond? And she said, yeah, can I do that? So what I've done is she put 50% deposit down. We spoke to a bond originator. The bond originator then qualified her for the 50% because with her Airbnb can now start paying off this property. So all of a sudden I gave her a solution, not just of buying the property, but also how to generate additional income using a bond originator and making business work for her. Anybody else would like to add something?
Nope. I'm just listening and making notes here.
Okay. So lots of times the biggest problem that we've got is communication. How do you communicate with your client? The problem that we face is we're trying to sell the property to them instead of listening. Do you know what the difference is between listening and hearing?
Yes.
What would you say, Wilna?
I'd say to listen is to actually consume what the client is trying to tell you, to hear what he's saying. And listening is just, taking in information without letting it register.
And what would you say, Daniela?
I've got a different interpretation. For me, anyone can listen. You can listen to music, TV, you can listen to chatter, but to actually hear someone and hear what they're saying to you is the interpretation of their needs. So for me, when I hear you, I say I hear you, it means I understand you. I know what you want. I know what you're needing. That's my interpretation.
Okay, to sum it up is I listen to my wife, but I don't hear her.
Yeah. Yeah, Ron. A lot of men do that, eh? A lot of men do that.
But a lot of agents do that exactly the same.
People.
Yeah.
They listen to the client, but they don't hear them. They don't hear their pain.
Yeah.
Okay, so if we understand what they want by listening to them and we understand what their roadmap is, or understand what their wish list is, we can connect better with them. Ask them questions without what do you call it?
Open-ended questions.
Open-ended question. So to give you an idea, or let me rephrase, if I show you this property on the beachfront with Airbnb, would you be interested?
Yeah.
So all of a sudden they say yes or no. If they say no, why won't you like looking at this property? Ask him the questions at the end of the day and think what they want. The problem what we've got lots of times when you communicate, and you'll probably find this as well. How many times that the client say, I want to buy in Parklands or I want to buy in Flamingo Fly, and all of a sudden they want to go buy something in Melkbos.
Because we didn't determine their needs properly.
We just want to accept what the client says, and we lose those deals. Sometimes I found this fantastic property. It might be in your price range, or it might be a little bit over, but I think you're going to get a better return on your income and purchase it. Or, the rates and taxes where you want to buy, or this levies on this flat is 3,000 Rand. But if you go to Melkbos, you can get the same one. It's a bit more expensive, but the levies is 1,500 Rand. That 1,000 Rand can go back into your bond, which can have a much better property. I'm just using that as an example. So those are a couple of things that the person can start communicating, because most of agents would have figured out they might have the stock, but they don't understand their own area. They don't understand what is the schools what school is in the area. How far is it away from the freeway? What's the kilometers to the airport?
It's actually, Ron, it's actually knowing your product, because you're selling a service, and that service entails a lot of things.
100%.
You have to do your homework to be sure of the product that you're selling, what the advantages and disadvantages is.
Correct. And it's not just about the property, it's the communication of your area. Because how many times have we found out, I love this property, and the person didn't tell you it's not pet friendly. They
Yeah.
saw a cat, they might see a bird, doesn't mean it's pet friendly,
Yeah.
because they presume without asking the right questions. So,
Yes.
and some of us might just go in and says, yeah, no, it's pet friendly, because what we want to try do is close the deal. But at the end of the day, we're not closing we might close the deal, but we lost the client for life.
Yeah.
So for me, this is also quite important, is the next slide, which I put forward there, is reach the masses with a message. And why is it so important is, as I said earlier, is sometimes you might sit with properties. We cannot just depend on the portals, but we've got social media that we can reach the masses. Now, I was listening to Ryan Serhant, and you know what he does quite clever. He uses YouTube and TikTok to focus on the kids. And what do I mean by that? So let's say, for instance, you got a property on the beach, a unit, and you talk about the kids playing on the beach, kicking the ball, and it's only 500 meters away from the beach. The child might be looking at this YouTube video, and what they're going to do, they're going to share it with their parents
Or nag the parents. Say, we
or nag
want
the
to look.
parents.
Yeah.
Okay. Or you might look at your dog lovers or your pet lovers or your kite surfing, whatever it is, create that property around, I'll call it the Lord approach, the location, the occupation, recreation, and dream. Talk about it and see how that will work to make your client interested, or the masses to buy into you, by creating that conversation through social media to build your client base. Because here's a thing that we all face, and I've proved it in one of your meetings we had at SWB's offices. I asked, and I think we were about 20 agents, how many buyers and sellers have you got? And everybody said one or two. No, you haven't. Your cell phone is full of buyers and sellers. They're not ready yet. But if you can start communicating with your people on your cell phone, on your social media, on your LinkedIn page, your YouTube, whatever it is, how many more people are you going to attract to become a buyer or a seller? Any comments on that?
Or, they can also direct your information to a potential buyer or friend or whatever.
100%.
Yeah.
Do you want to add anything, Daniela?
No, I'm all good, Ron. Thank you.
Educate, don't just sell. Yeah, and I want to come back to what Daniela said. She'd got this property. She educated the seller. Yes, I will clean up. Yes, I will get the person out. These are the people, these are the laws. You have to evict the person. All of a sudden, she educated the seller to get the mandate.
Mm.
Provide the right advice. The biggest problem that we face is we know it all, because we feel at the end of the day, if I don't give them the right advice, I might go with somebody else. But how
Yeah.
many times do we use third-party information? And it's the way we say it. and I'm going to use another example. The mutual client that we've got in Flamingo Flay, Wilna.
Yes.
Okay, he reached out to me and says, "Yeah, do I get that insurance claim sorted out? Or how do I
Yes.
get the body corporate to sort out this claim?" So what I've done is I then forward the information to David Roberts. But I've
Yes.
followed up with David and said, this person is going to phone you. This is a lead that might be out of your scope, but you're still you understand the property law.
Yeah.
David
It's just that to actually show that there is support, and
correct,
we form a group of services.
100%. So again, David said, no, I've spoken to him, I showed him the direct way to go. It might not cost him a lot of money, but there's different ways and angles to approach.
Yeah.
Because I gave a referral to David. David said there's a person that's under debt review. Do you mind sorting him out? So all of a sudden, one hand washes the other hand by
Yeah.
passing leads of people's skill set to work. So if I've got a problem, and you raised a good point, if I've got a problem with sexual title, the first person I will reach out to is Daniela, because she's
Yes.
an expert in sexual titles. Okay. So therefore, I would work and say, okay, let's rather work with this deal. And because you know exactly what's happening in the area, you understand the different laws in different body corporates, all of this. This is how we educate other buyers and sellers by negotiating and leveraging from each other to make business work. Danielle, would you like to add anything in this?
Sorry, Ryan, could you just repeat the last thing you were saying?
How do we educate people using sexual title going
Oh,
forward? Because you're
okay,
you're an expert.
yes, no, absolutely. So, just an example now. My seller at Dartford News, she wants to sell her property. We got her an offer, but now she is struggling to get the financials out of the body corporate. So essentially, you know, I educate my sellers in advance usually, and I did in this case, to let them know that any potential buyer is allowed and required to review the conduct rules, for example, and the financials of the body corporate to ensure that the property that they're buying will be indeed a good investment. You know, the financials are the most important in managing body corporates. So you don't want to buy a unit in a sectional title complex that's going bankrupt and there's mismanagement of funds. So what I did in this case is I asked her for the conduct rules and financials, which she did within a day. And after repeated attempts now over 3 weeks, she's not getting any joy out of her managing agent. So apparently they don't have financials to give her. So this is a massive red flag. Yeah, this is a massive red flag, which is now put her in a predicament because I had a buyer for her property. We put in an offer to purchase on her property, but obviously the buyer wanted to view the financials. So we made the offer subject to viewing the financials, which we still do not have to this day. So as a result, the poor seller now has lost an offer on her property due to the complex being poorly managed by an inefficient managing agent. And as it turns out, another unit that I'm busy dealing with is also managed by the same managing agent, and they're also having the same problems with them. So, yeah, it's very important to educate your clients. You know, it can make or break a deal for you. And in this case, this lady has now missed out on an offer to purchase for her property because of lack of knowledge. So education is extremely important.
Daniela,
Fantastic.
sorry, just on that one specific one. It sounds to me, I don't know, I get the impression that with sectional title, the managing agents and sometimes the trustees, it's like the tail wagging the dog, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah.
But why is that culture there? Why does it happen? I mean, surely the property owners are the ones that should be in control, and
Absolutely.
the managing agent and the trustees are there to offer them a service.
Absolutely. And Vilna, this is unfortunately due to lack of knowledge on the buyer's part, which essentially comes back to us as agents, that it's our duty to educate buyers who buy into sectional title what they are buying into. Because sectional title is very different from single title property. Sectional title,
Yeah.
you own the unit that you're living in, but there are certain rules that are required to manage the complex that you live in. And every buyer needs to adhere to these rules and be aware of them before they buy the property. So oftentimes it's the agent's job, to educate, which they don't do, unfortunately. So then we end up with a situation like this, where now this poor seller wants to sell her property, and she asks the managing agent for the financials, and big surprise, there's no financials. And she didn't know this. She didn't know this until she had to sell. So this is a red flag. It's a huge red flag when it comes to who's the managing agent? Are they managing your money properly? Are your financials being done every month? Are you getting a management report from your managing agent? These are questions that buyers need to ask, but more importantly, that us as agents need to educate our buyers on.
Yeah, we can educate them on it, but I think at the end of the day, it is the owner's responsibility to make sure that they get monthly feedback on what's happening.
Yes. Ultimately, the buyer beware, there's this term in law, I don't know the Latin term, but it's basically buyer beware. So for any buyer like ourselves, we go to the shop and we buy something. We need to make sure that we educate ourselves about what we're buying.
Yeah.
How do you wash the clothing? What is the ironing instructions? If you are not aware, you're going to damage it, or it's not going to work properly, So buyer beware. Ultimately, it's our responsibility to educate ourselves about what we are buying. And especially when it comes to one of the biggest investments you're ever going to make in your life, purchasing a property, it's massive. You need to do your homework. You need to do the research. You need to educate yourself. That's the bottom line.
Yeah.
But Daniela, what I like what you said there, it's not the buyer or the seller, is us as agents get into the game, think of selling property instead of educating ourselves what we need to help the buyer or the seller with, because we don't sell. We negotiate and help people to grow their portfolios.
Correct.
So if we can help and grow, let's see how we can start building up a database of people say, this is a go-to place to go to, where people can say, we've got a team of person that knows how to sort out a person's credit report. We know how to help a person to be self-motivated. We know a person how to do sexual title. We know a person that knows the law. All of a sudden, there's a one-stop service that we can help each other grow in the game by leveraging each other's skill set, because we're not the encyclopedia.
Yeah, and we don't know everything.
Exactly.
So if we can help each other grow as agents, we can help their buyers and seller grow, and everybody wins.
Absolutely, Ron. And a buyer feels confident when you share information with them, like what's the latest bond interest rates. When you educate your buyer, they feel value. They get value from you, and then they're more likely to call you back and say, oh, well, do you know what this is and what that is, Then that's how you establish relationship, by sharing information, sharing knowledge, educating your buyer. Then they feel confident that you know what you're talking about, that you are the go-to agent when it comes to things related to property.
And they can make an informed decision as well, because they've got all the information.
Exactly. So that's why a good agent is worth his weight in gold, because just by not educating your buyer, you could put them in a predicament like this poor seller is now. She's losing out on the sale of a property because the agent who sold her the property didn't make her aware of how a sectional title complex is managed, what her rights and responsibilities are. She didn't know any of that.
And you know what's important there, Daniela? that agent that sold that property can be accountable under the Property Protections Act as well as the Consumer Protection Act.
Yeah, I believe that's possible because withholding valuable and important information
Yep.
can mislead
Yes.
a buyer into buying something that they would never have bought in the first place had they known that information.
And
100%.
it is basically putting your investment in other people's hands.
Absolutely. It's scary.
Sure, it's terrible.
Yeah, because
100%.
what happened, what I ended up doing is referring the lady to CSOS, which is the Community Schemes Ombudsman service, because her hands are tied. The managing
Yeah.
agent doesn't have the information, the financials are not being done. So then this begs the big question, where are the levies? Where's the money gone to? Very often I've dealt with body corporates that mismanage the money. The money is actually being fraudulently used.
I know.
And there's all kinds of horrific stories that come out. And CSOS is that regulatory authority that intervenes for free on behalf of buyers, sellers, and managing agents where there is fraud, where there is corruption, to try and root out this process. And this is where the Sectional Title Management Act 2016 came into effect. It's to try and eliminate and get rid of all these illegal activities that are taking place with other people's money.
Daniela, sorry, just
so-
repeat that. Just repeat that act, Sectional Act of?
Sectional Title Management Act and also the Sectional Title Act. They're two separate ones. There's the Sectional Title Act. What a sectional title unit.
Hello?
Hello. Are you there, Daniela?
Hello?
Okay, I think Daniela's phone went dead.
I think she said 2016. Hi,
Okay.
Ron.
So what we'll do is on that
There she is.
Okay, what we'll do is let's use another Motivational Monday where Daniela can guide us through the Sexual Title Acts.
Okay, great. That
Alright.
would be
Oh my
awesome.
goodness,
Yeah.
what have I got myself into?
Okay,
No,
but
but this is important. I mean, it's knowledge that we all need.
Yeah,
100%.
no, it's very important to educate your buyers. You know, you're doing them a huge injustice by not declaring certain things and not educating them. Most people who haven't bought a sectional title don't know what their responsibilities are, don't know what their rights are. And when you don't know what your rights and your responsibilities are, then you're subject to anything unfairly.
I just want to mention to you that I have experienced this firsthand. I tried to phone a managing agent, the manager of the properties, plus the chairman of the trustees. Not one of them spoke to me. The one person just blocked me. The other person never phoned back, and the one asked me by WhatsApp, "What do you want?"
Okay.
Wow. This is already a red flag. Oh, my
So
word.
hold on, can we leave that to the next one where we put this together?
Yeah, sorry, I just wanted to mention it before I forget.
Okay, not a problem. So the next slide, which I'm talking about, use your personality to entertain and connect. Have you ever thought of you're going to go see a buyer and you had an argument with another seller or another agent? How does your body language show up when you meet that buyer? Yeah, you have to change your mannerism. And what happened yesterday is gone. You have to be focused on today with that new client. You have to be humorous. You have to be warm.
And get back into the moment.
Yeah. Start with the right communication when the buyer or seller comes in. And let me tell you a story. When I was in the insurance business, nobody told me about sales. So I went to go door knock every flat in the mums and Toti. So do you want insurance? No. And at the end of the day, I had to decide, do I want to be a salesperson? What do I want to be? Because it's not working. And real estate is exactly the same. So anyway, I knocked on this door, and this guy was probably 2 heads taller than me, and he's wide. I knocked on the door. and he closed the door in my face. So I knocked on the door and I put my foot in the door.
Yes.
Okay.
Yo.
And I said to him, I apologize, but my eyes just noticed in your lounge, there's a Gama Gama lounge suite. Is that correct? He said to me, yes. How do you know it's a Gama Gama? I says, well, my wife likes a Gama Gama lounge suite. I says, would you like to come sit? I said, yes. He says, would you like a cup of coffee? I said, that would be nice. I says, that's your kids on playing sport. They must be good at rugby and cricket. Yeah, no, they're good and so on. At the end of the day, I understood how to communicate, to understand the humor of him, understanding, looking at the Gama Gama Lounge Suite, looking at their kids. I walked away with two policies because I figured out if I know by just complimenting the person, the lady on a pair of shoes, the nice watch the guy's got, or the nice car, all of a sudden that helps by creating communication to
Mm.
get the deal done.
Yeah,
That's the
just
Yeah,
way
Ron,
kind of,
anybody that'd like to add on this?
yeah, I think it basically comes down to getting some mutual ground, something that you can communicate on, a mutual interest to start a conversation.
100%. But what it also does is if you use a slogan or you use something that's nice or just a happy birthday, is to leave that relate mark with them that when they speak to somebody and says, Ron just wished me, didn't even know it was my birthday, or he sent me uh, a chocolate, whatever it is, it creates that relationship.
Yeah.
Like Daniela spoke to that seller, don't worry, I will sort out the tenants. What is that seller going to do to her friends? She's going to talk about what Daniela done. And they
Mhm.
want to reach out to Daniela if they want to buy in the Western Cape, even they're from Joburg, because you
Yeah.
create that not just a relationship with your buyer or the seller, but you build that relationship with the buyer seller's network, and your network becomes your net worth.
Yes.
exactly. Yeah, I just want to share something as well, Ron, that
Fantastic.
when I first started in real estate, I worked for one of the top real estate agents in this area. He's been dominating the area for over 15 years. And he taught me something extremely valuable. He said to me, Daniela, before you can sell anything to anyone, you need to connect before you can convince anyone of anything. And that was the most valuable piece of knowledge, in fact, that any mentor has ever taught me. You need to connect before you can convince. So this is all about connecting with people. In your initial meeting, your first impression is so important. Are you able to connect with them on a person to person level? And this goes down to small little details like you said, the couch. Or if you notice they've got a dog, you remember their dog's name. You start talking about their dog. This is how you form a connection with people. And then from there, you can start discussing things like the property price or what they're looking for. People need connection before anything else. So yes, it's very, very important.
Mm.
Exactly what you just said there. Think of the solution, not the sales.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that human connection aspect, to connect with people first and foremost, to form that relationship so that they can get to know you. They know that you know their dog's name. Then you find out about their children and their home. Maybe they've been living in the house for 25 years and they're very scared of selling, So you first have to connect on that human level. I found very useful in my career, definitely.
Yeah.
I want to tell you a story, and I've been reading Ryan's what's his name, Sirhan's books. I bought all three books, and he done that Manhattan series on property.
Yeah.
And he spoke in one of his videos. He spoke about this buyer, And she said, I'm looking to buy a property for my daughter. So it's okay, not a problem. How old is your daughter? Well, I'm 8 months pregnant. So it's not even born, but she's already thinking of it. So he had to
Yeah.
think of how to get a property for the daughter because she has to grow into the property. So now he knows she's an investor, but when she goes to a university or college, that unit is ready there for to be close to that area. So sometimes figuring out the solution for that client can help you grow the business. And I want
Yes.
to use another scenario. Is I'm busy with a buyer now. He's from Durban. He's got cash of 1.6 million. And I said to him, listen, he wants to buy in Sandown for 2.5. I said to him, well, you're wasting your money, first of all, because you're only going to move to this property in 5 years' time. Why don't you buy a flat, which is Airbnb, maybe a 1 bedroom or 2 bedroom, use 50% of the money, find a one for about 1.4 million, 1.5. Let's use the bank's money. While I was speaking to him, telling this, he says, can I put you on speaker? I want my wife to listen. And they bought into the solution which I gave them. So now I've already sent them 2 links because I says, let's start with the first one. Then I know next year I've got my second property. But let's get the first one done. And then I'll teach him to get the third one using uh, um, the income that they receive from the 2 properties to buy the third one. All of a sudden, now they're building a relationship with me. I don't have to go look for the properties. I'm using agents to find the properties. I'll send the link through to them. At least I'll still win by helping him out because he's going to tell 1 or 2 people what I've done for them, and they want to invest as well. So all of a sudden, we build up that relationship going forward. It's
Yeah.
exactly the same with the client that Vilna and I's got that says, listen, I've got a person you can speak to, understands law, speak to David. All of a sudden, he wants to deal with us again because we gave him solutions to a problem. Because everybody's got problems and pain. If you understand what the pain and problems are, you can solve the deal. It's not about trying to sell. You help them with a solution to grow their portfolio.
Yeah.
So yeah, so those are a couple of things what I would suggest. Not everybody will agree, but there's a couple of things that a lot of golden nuggets came out from yourself, Wilda, as well as you, Daniela. And this is where the biggest problem comes in. We all go in emotionally. We have to
Yeah.
take emotion out of it.
Yeah,
You know,
you've actually got to think on your feet, eh?
100%. A lot of times when it comes to emotional decisions, and lots of times, as Daniela said, this person staying in the house for 25 years. Take the emotion out of them, but show them a direction why it's better.
Yeah.
A good example is I had a client who stayed in a 5 bedroom house. Kids has moved out, husband passed away, but there's too much emotion attached to the house, but it's too difficult for her to maintain the house.
Yeah.
You have to work with a bit of emotion, but you have to take the emotion out, but showing her the roadmap that life still carries on. You
Yeah.
still can take that beautiful chair that's there and it will fit nice in that old let's call it a flat. I won't call it an old age home, but a nice little unit on the beachfront. We can still take your dog for a walk, having a bit of a lifestyle, helping that person out to think, but work with them to show them the solutions. Create a
Yeah.
checklist for them to make the right financial decision. And just be level-headed.
Mm.
Because if you help that person to make the decision without looking after your pocket, but help him to show the roadmap, this is the way you can do it going forward. Anybody that like to add on this?
No, I agree 100%, Ron. Definitely.
I think in this area, I would definitely be using my coaching skills.
100%.
Mm.
And this is where the other one comes in, your productivity tools to free up your time.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love your
The
picture in the background.
okay. So the problem comes in with a lot of us as agents is we don't use our tools to free up time. It's to give you an idea, how do you manage your client base? And most of us will manage our client base on your cell phone. I've got a
Yeah.
client which I had in 2013. I must just search for their number. But I think I lost it because I changed phones. Google didn't save it. Where do I find it now? All of a sudden, you're sitting with a problem. But if you create a CRM system like a PropCon, you have to use Lightstone correctly. You have to use virtual agent correctly to link into your CRM or PropCon system, whatever system you're going to use, by providing yourself with updated information where the person's name pops up with a happy birthday or
Mm.
the anniversary of their property. All of this, how does that help you to grow your portfolio? At the
Yes.
same time, by giving that person personalized email, happy birthday, Johnny, especially with Mary's first day at school. How did it go? What impact will that do to your your real estate business to make business work by providing information? And all it takes is maybe 10 or half an hour in the morning to see whose birthday it is, send that personal email to them because everything is on your CRM system to make your life easy.
Yes.
Anything you would like to add, Daniela?
No, Ron, I agree 100% with you. Having a good CRM and a good database with your clients is essential. Unfortunately, over the years, I haven't done this. So I've got 10, almost 14 years experience in real estate. And unfortunately, because I haven't kept a database of clients, I've had to start from scratch with every new real estate company that I started with. So just again, mentioning how great eXp is and having that platform for us to use to store our clients is essential. I think that is the golden nugget for your business, is maintaining your database. Without your database, you don't have a business. So it is
Totally. Yeah.
important. Yeah.
You
And
know,
once you've spoken to somebody or somebody's made a query, you've automatically got POPIA permission
Yeah.
to communicate with that person. So it's
Yeah.
good to actually cash in on that opportunity.
Absolutely.
Daniela, what you mentioned there quite interesting is that you've been in the business for 14 years.
Yes.
So you've gone through a number of estate agents. And the
Yes.
interesting part is every agency you're working with says it's their clients, not yours.
That's exactly.
But eXp, those clients belong to you. So
Mm.
imagine you built up a database working for a big real estate company and you're sitting with 2,000 clients and you have to
Yeah.
walk away. You cannot walk away because you're stuck with them.
Yeah.
Therefore,
Exactly.
it's very important. An ID number is more valuable than gold because that ID number you can sell 5 or 6 properties to, get bond origination fees, link them up with another group of revenue streams. The problem comes in because it sits with a corporate real estate company or a smaller company. They make the money and not you. And that's just why
Yeah.
it's important to create your own database. And I say to anybody listening there, make sure that you copy and paste everything in your Excel spreadsheet. Keep it there because you are the person who worked with that buyer. You're the
Yes.
person that worked with that seller, not the corporate. You are the owner of that person because you are the brand. Become the brand because it's not the company is a brand. Ron is a brand because they will always know Ron as real estate and financial literacy.
Yes.
Daniela, the real estate agent and
Problem.
textual title.
Yeah.
But the
Wilna
nice
and
thing,
coach.
you know, with building relationships with your clients, they tend to remember you, which is a real compliment. And one of the best compliments I've ever got is have clients come back to me 3 or 4 years later after I sold them a property and having still kept my number in their phone all these years and said to me, Daniela, we want to sell this property and buy another one. Now, when that happens, that just proves that relationship is everything with your buyers. Someone they
Totally.
trust, you know. So it's so essential to keep that contact. And not everyone is going to keep an agent's name in their phone for 4 years, you know.
Yeah.
So we, as part of our business, need to make that effort to keep the communication going between our clients.
100%. And
that's
just happy
that's
birthday. How's your wife doing?
Yes.
I'll see you've been driving a new car. I mean, did you see that Jessica Telly has got a special on? Have you ever thought of going there? You know, I'm just using certain scenarios. Yeah, you know, it's all of that. Is how do you create that information to people by having the tools like a PropCon, where you can diarize people's birth dates, diarize the properties, linking the properties in, we're sharing them.
Yeah, I mean, if a client phones you after 4 years and you can go into their profile, say, yes, I remember this house, four bed, 3 bathrooms that you bought over there, and I still remember something about the child or something. You know, it shows that you really are trying to work on a relationship. It's not just for a sale.
Yes.
100%. And which brings me to the next slide. Is from the me to the we to the us. And this is my favorite saying. The me, I'm the agent. I want to build up my portfolio. I want to grow my portfolio. I don't sell. I'll find solutions for people to grow with.
Yeah.
The we is the team. The team I can depend on, like Daniella's understands a sexual title. Wilna, who's a coach. Having a team who understands rentals. You have to do the different rentals procurement of managed. Working with it, that is the we. That I can have a one-stop service. And the us are the buyers and the sellers.
Yes.
By creating that, we all leverage from each other's skill sets and making the success going forward by the me to the we to the us. And this is how I feel we can become successful in the team of eXp by growing each other. Like Daniela is bringing a person in now at quarter to 1. She wants to know more. So she wants to speak to Ron. I'll work with Daniela because it's the me and the we. She becomes the us. And that's how we can start growing to make systems work, business work, and everybody leverages each other's time to grow as a team. And it's not about Ron's pocket. It's how we grow each other's pockets to have multiple streams of income.
Yeah.
I agree, Ron, 100%. Team, we're far better as a team, far better and stronger working as a team than we are individually because our combined knowledge makes your perfect one-stop shop for property.
Yes.
And And that's it. The final thoughts is the call to action. What we're going to do differently. Why people has to join us, other agents to join our team, that we can help them grow. Because there's so many people that wants to get into real estate, but they don't know where to turn to. They don't know who to mentor, where to grow, how to close a deal. All of this, we in our team, we leverage each other's skills to have the right call to action with buyers, sellers, as well as other agent that wants to join, because we network and we grow. Because if you know what
Yes.
your network is, you know what your net worth is.
Mm.
So on that point is it's what you like to do at the end of the day to grow yourself and going forward. So on that note, thank you for watching. I just want to stop recording here. I just want to stop in my YouTube. Just hang on 1 second. Yeah. Just want to stop my YouTube.